guest right back live at Viewpoint 96.3, 648-5510. And if anybody has any questions for our county clerk, Sally Litterly, or comments about voting. Sally, what I wanted to ask you, when you get together with your contemporaries, your fellow clerks in the area, or perhaps at statewide meetings, is the matter of voter apathy discussed very much amongst you clerks?
Absolutely. One of the primary reasons, not only because of the fact that everyone should vote, but one of the other reasons is that in this next election that we have coming up, which is the March primary in 2012, there is no election this year
right.
in 11. We don't have an election.
So you can rest on your laurels till March.
That's right. So in March of 2012, that is a partisan election. That's a primary. That primary is one that people don't come out to vote for several reasons. And one reason is they don't want to say they're partisan politics.
Yeah.
And Judy knows, being an election judge, that when an individual walks in and they say they want to vote, Judy would say, would you like a Republican or a Democrat ballot? And they'd say, well, I don't want you to know what I vote. And the reason being is that Illinois does not have the type of primary in which you can pick whatever. So we choose our party. We're voting for the individual from our party that we want to represent us and be elected in the November. So this is a nomination process. And I think some forget that. So that's one of the reasons I think that we see some of the apathy. And then one of the reasons of why that bothers us is that the statute requires us to have enough ballots printed for, I believe it's 101% of ballots of all the different types. So we don't know if you previously voted Democratic or Democrat ballot, that you might come in this time and want a Republican ballot or a Green Party ballot. So we have to have the 100% of all the ballots.
That's expensive.
Yeah, it's really expensive. It's just a huge waste of money. We have gone to what's called ballot on demand. So we don't order 100%. We might order 80% to have those available at the polling place. And if we need to make more, we can to take out to the polling places. But you always run that risk of your printer breaks down, something goes wrong. But it's still, that's part of the reason that it bothers us.
Every once in a while, it seems to me I've heard what it costs per vote locally when the election is over. And it's enough to make you about decide that you want to be a real participant, because you're going to pay for the whole schmear, no matter whether 15% show up or 85. 85, I'm sure you'd absolutely be shocked.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. That would be a shocker.
Yeah.
And one of the other interesting things is that since 1984, when they had the consolidation of elections, the county is responsible for paying for all those elections. So whether you have a city, a village, a park, a library, all those elections, the county funds those. And that's a huge amount of our budget that we pay for all the individuals to be able to elect a village president or elect a trustee of your library district. So there's no money that comes from those entities to supplement our budget in order to run those elections.
Wouldn't you think that the citizenry would want to take advantage of that freedom which is offered to them to exercise their right to whatever their judgment is, this issue or that issue or this candidate or that candidate? But it just boggles my mind every year, or every election I should say, that we don't get the participation. I don't get it. I probably won't get it by the time I leave here. It's just the way it seems to be. And it's just mind-boggling to me that people, we've got thousands upon thousands of crosses and stars with David and so forth in cemeteries all over the world to continue, that we can continue to exercise that freedom. And people just don't give a tinker's damn.
No. And even if you feel disenfranchised because of maybe the federal government or the state government, like I cast my ballot just like all the 101 counties did for Bill Brady, and I forgot what it was. I think it was 101 to 1, something to that, like that.
Yeah.
And my vote didn't count because Cook County took it all, or St. Clair County took it all. Even if you feel that disenfranchised that your vote doesn't matter. In an odd year election, your vote really matters. Your vote really matters on how it's going to affect your taxes.
The closer you stay to home with your tax dollar, the more benefit you get from that dollar. And by the time you get clear to the federal level, really the response is, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm running for election, don't bother me with your troubles. Where here, these people are at the grocery store, and they're at the library, and they're in all the places you are, and if you don't like the way things go, you can march right up to them and say, hey, bud.
The accountability's here.
You better believe it.
And we expect our neighbors to be good stewards of our tax dollars.
Amen. Well, because it's your dollar, too.
That's right.
You're paying just like me.
Is there any feeling amongst the county clerk statewide, Mrs. Litterly, that an open primary would have an advantage? Have you talked about that, I wonder?
Actually, we've heard some talk about it, but ours isn't a political push, if you will, and that would take a huge political undertaking in order to get that done, and that won't happen in Illinois.
Well, but now they've outlawed patronage, right?
Right.
Theoretically. So that's one side of this, knowing what your party is. Another thing that I've heard argued for the closed primary is that way I can't go into the polling place and vote for the fellow from the other party in order that maybe I can somehow contribute to his being elected and his being a weaker candidate than the one I want in my party.
That's exactly what can happen.
That cuts both ways in there, you know.
Not everything cuts both ways.
You can gang up and vote for the demise of one candidate in an open primary, and perhaps that's not a good. But at least we all get to vote.
Well, and I guess if you don't want to vote partisan, then you don't cast a ballot in a primary. You just go to a general and cast a ballot.
But you're missing out on an opportunity and the down payment on your right to gripe. Yeah. Really, you are. I mean, if you don't vote, don't talk to me about how things are going.
I hear the cat. There's only one cat in here now, folks.
Sally's very concerned about the kitty. The kitty was sick last week.
Jim hit it with the car.
Yeah, that's what made it sick.
SPCA will be after Jim for me.
He didn't mean to.
Oh, gosh, no. Jim's an animal lover to the max.
I'm waiting for its head to pop out of there.
Now, this card that we all got from you, our greeting card in the mail, it would behoove us each to cut that out and put it in our wallet so that when we get to our polling place, we can just look at that card and it will say, go to number 2.
Absolutely,
or go
Judy.
to 6, or whatever the deal is. So it would behoove you to put your voter registration card. I've got mine in my wallet. Unfortunately, it was my old one. So I've got to take it out and put my new one in. And
just like when you get the new insurance card or whatever, it's the same thing. But, and to follow that up, you're exactly right. If you have that card, it will help you on election day, and it'll help you eliminate maybe if there's a backup or something. You'll know exactly where to go.
Yeah, and you look for the aforementioned pillar that's going to have a number on it that will coincide with the number on your little card in your little wallet.
And also we mentioned, I think in Lincoln Daily News and in the Courier, that if you did not receive a voter card, or in that way, I mean, that's the only way we know that you're registered to vote, and you know you're registered to vote, if you received a voter card. If that voter card was wrong, or let's say, for instance, it came to your maiden name, the reason why it came to your maiden name, and then you got one in your married name, you're registered as both, because when you went to the registrar, or whomever it was to register to vote, you may not have told them that you previously registered under the name of whatever, Tetley in my case. So I might still be registered out there as Sally Tetley and Sally Litterly. So they didn't, whoever the registrar didn't know. So we need to take those people off.
Right. And if you died, call in.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, want to call in before, however, say I think I'm going. Sally, our first election in 2012 will be in
March 20th of 2012. So it's very important that people know, even though we have the hype going on about elections right now,
Yes.
we do not have an election this year. Our election in Illinois is March 20th, unless they change it like Florida is or something. But right now it's March 20th.
They set them back in some states. Wasn't that Iowa that was mentioned that was going to maybe think about going back to December? I think that's just unconscionable. I think they should be put closer together. And I know they're vitally impressed with how I feel
We
about
did that once too, remember?
Yeah.
We moved ours when we had a presidential candidate from Illinois, so we wanted to get in on Super Tuesday. So we changed ours to February.
Yes.
And then it went back the next year.
Yeah.
I hear the natives are restless again in the studio. SPCA is going to be active again. When will you start preparing? When will your office start preparing?
That's a great question,
for
Bill.
The next
We started
election?
preparing already. I know, that's
Interesting.
unbelievable.
Now here we are in, this is still October, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and tell you
please.
that some of the county offices that are open, this isn't just about a presidential.
No.
We do have some county offices that individuals could run for, and those that are open are county board. We have 6 districts of 2 members each. So if you wanted to run for county board, you need to find out what district that you will be in. We moved the lines just a little bit in a couple of districts to help with the population. We also have clerk of the circuit court, coroner, state's attorney, circuit judge, maybe a circuit judge opening. Yes, there is. There's a gentleman running from McLean County.
Yes.
But remember, our circuit's quite large.
Yes, right.
Yes, it is.
11th
Very big.
Judicial Circuit. It's not one of our circuit judges, a resident judge. State representative, state senator, Congress, and the President of the United States. All those things are up in March. Also, if you want to run for precinct committeeman, those new precincts, the new 29, those will be elected in March. So if you want to run for precinct committeeman, you need to get your papers and circulate those. We've already started that circulation process. And the last day to file your papers, notarized, prepared, already finished papers, the last day to file those is December 5th in our office.
And that'll be here around the corner.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Before you know
So
it.
if you're running for office locally, you need to get those things circulated now and get those petitions notarized. And there's many people who have taken out petitions already that are circulating.
The motor voter registration, do we still have that?
Yes, it's still done there at the driver's license
Driver's
facility.
License Bureau. And how does that work in a primary? Since a motor voter registered voter has a little bit different process to follow.
Yeah, well, motor voter, there has been many changes to it. I mean, it started back in, I believe it was 2003, where they changed, it used to be that you were registered only for federal.
Yeah.
Now you're
Right.
registered for everything. So when you go to the driver's license facility to receive services of any kind, they're supposed to ask you, would you like to register to vote? That's what they have to ask you. And if you say no, there's a declination form that they sign. It's an automatic X.
I see.
So on election day, you're somewhat familiar with provisional voting, Judy. On election day, if I come into the polling place and I want to cast my ballot, and perhaps I did that, I registered to vote at a driver's license facility, and they say, sorry, we don't have your registration. You can't vote. And I say, I know I registered at that driver's license facility. I demand a vote. Well, then the election judges would issue what's called a provisional ballot, and you would cast that ballot in a different spot, and then I would check that with the driver's license or the Secretary of State up to a few days after
To be
that.
sure.
To see that that's valid.
The driver's license facility has that declination form on file. So I can check to see if who said, no, I don't want to register to vote. Oh, yes, I do want to register to vote. And perhaps, there could have been something wrong. Then that individual's ballot will count, and we'll cast that through the system. That's why we still have 2 weeks after the election day to count ballots. That's
And
a
then
provisional
you
ballot.
finally, what's the term that you use, that they're certified, verified? homogenized. What's
You mean when we canvass and we're finished with the and then we canvass. It's 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, Sally, Jim, Judy, why would somebody decline to register to vote?
Well, I think, Bill, some people still have this idea that if they register to vote, then they're eligible for jury.
Yes.
And it's not like that anymore. It's driver's license for jury. And it used to be.
So if you don't want to serve on the jury, give up your license. There you go.
Yeah. So
well,
I think
that's a civic
the idea
duty
behind it.
Well, and you know, that getting back to that jury business, you know, you can think about the fact that God knows any one of us could have to go before a jury. We think maybe we wouldn't, but you just don't know in this day and age.
How'd you like to sit on one of those federal juries?
I did it.
You did?
I did.
How long did it last?
Not so bad. It was a long time ago.
I mean, some of those can last for weeks.
I know it. But think of the fact that you may have to be there someday.
Yeah.
You don't want just a bunch of old fogies like me that are retired, if in fact I ever get to retire, to be on your jury. You want a cross-section of your peers. And it's important that you offer that to others in return. And it's a painless thing, and they even pay you. I don't know, you get $1.50 a day or something.
On a jury. Well, you
and lunch. Yeah.
Oh, don't forget lunch. Yes, exactly. You know, I hope they shut the airways off here in the jury commission, because I'm about to make a statement, perhaps, which I'll regret.
I'll tell Janet tomorrow because I'll see her. Okay.
Let's see. It'd be about 1948 that I imagine the last time my name came up for jury.
Really?
Yeah,
I've only been called once.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll get out of here before that happens again. Well, do you have anybody question? You want to have a sum up, Mrs. Litterly, before we bail out of this place?
Yeah, just let's re-stress that for the rest of 2011 we don't have an election. But come March of 2012, we will have an election. Kind of in the back of your Rolodex that you have in your mind, put this that I read this morning, and don't forget to vote. And Sally and the sovereign state of Illinois have made it mighty easy for you to register and mighty easy for you to vote. Really, there is absolutely no excuse that I can think of. And those who come up with an excuse, I think, are simply rationalizing the fact that they just didn't want to leave as the world turns to go vote.
Well, I'm going to take an extra minute here, Jim. I think those that don't vote are kind of like the post turtles. While suturing or cutting the hand of a 75-year-old rancher whose hand was caught in a squeeze gate while working cattle, the doctor struck up a conversation with the old man. Eventually, the topic got around to politicians and so forth, and roles. And the old rancher said, well, you know, so-and-so is just like a post turtle. And not being familiar with the term, the doctor asked him what a post turtle was. The rancher said, well, you're driving down a country road, and you come across a fence post with a turtle up on top. That's a post turtle. The old rancher saw the puzzled look on the doctor's face, so he continued to explain. Well, you know, he didn't get up there by himself. He doesn't belong up there. He doesn't know what he's doing while he's up there. He's elevated beyond his ability to function, and you just let son of a dumb clock put him up there. So, those that don't vote are post turtles.
There you go. There you go.
So we're going to close Viewpoint with another Thomas Jefferson quote, rather appropriate. Do not bite at the hand of pleasure till you know there is no hook beneath it. Thank you for Viewpoint.